In the face of the Hill family members' menacing gazes, Mike's legs gave way as he finally succumbed to the pressure and fell to his knees with a thud. It's a misunderstanding. Mike couldn't stop shaking and broke out in a cold sweat. I was just joking. Please don't take it to heart, everyone. Patrick still had a smile plastered on his face. You mean you're not going to slap him? No, I wouldn't dare. Mike waved his hands. I have a cheap mouth and just like to brag. Please forgive me for my insolence, and don't find fault with me. Mike even slapped himself a few times to prove his sincerity. At that moment, Nina, who was still quite young, was also shocked into silence and was trembling slightly. The Hill family was such a powerful family that she wasn't even worthy of looking at them. Every one of them had the right to take her life away. Since you don't have the guts to touch him, go stand at one side. Patrick's smile gradually disappeared. Yes. Right away. Mike nodded like an obedient chick, shrinking back into a corner with the rest of his classmates. As his heart beat rapidly, he wondered why the prominent members of the Hill family had arrived at such a place. He also wondered who beat Torben up to such a state. Dustin. I hope you have been well. Patrick turned toward Dustin and greeted him. Patrick, why have you come today? Dustin responded nonchalantly. The thing is let me talk to him. Patrick was just about to explain when Autumn interrupted rudely. Kid, you should be punished for hurting my son. But since the Hill family has always been kind and generous, today, I have decided to give you a chance to live. While Patrick frowned at his words, Spring was quietly looking down, seemingly an outsider to the current situation. Mike and the rest of the classmates, on the other hand, were greatly shocked by his revelation. They glanced at Dustin as if he was a monster. He had nerves of steel to be the one to cripple Torben. A chance. With a smile, Dustin shook his head. I'm curious, what kind of chance are you giving me? First, heal my son. Second, deliver us another bottle of medicinal wine. As long as you fulfill these two requirements. I won't hold a grudge against your previous misdeeds, Autumn said with a serious expression. Autumn Hill, I guess you haven't gotten the situation straight. Dustin walked up to him slowly, his gaze growing increasingly dark. The ball is in my court now. Whatever I say goes. It's not up to you to decide. What? Autumn frowned. Are you going to fight us to the end, kid? I can if you want me to. Your son and father don't have many days left to live anyway. Autumn's expression darkened. Are you threatening me? So what if I am? Dustin didn't back down. If you want to fight, I'm always ready. But if you're here to ask for forgiveness, you should have the attitude of someone asking for forgiveness. My demand remains the same. When your son kneels in front of Mr. Robinson and apologizes, I'll let him live. Otherwise, scram. His words ignited a frenzy among the crowd. It was a great disgrace to have a direct descendant of the Hill family kneel before a commoner. God damn. Is this punk insane? How dare he ask Torben to get on his knees? What an idiot. He must be seeking death to act that wild in front of them. Dustin's bold words had made Mike and the other classmates whisper among themselves. In their eyes, what he did was just akin to suicide. You're stepping out of line, kid. Autumn erupted in rage. Are you done? If that's all you're here to say, then get lost. Don't be an eyesore. Dustin waved his hand in annoyance, clearly showing no respect for them at all. You. Autumn was about to launch into a new tirade when Spring raised his hand and interjected. Enough. Torben started this and is the one at fault. It's only fair for him to apologize. Spring. Autumn's brow furrowed deeply. What? Have you forgotten what Dad said? Spring gave him the side eye, slightly upset. Autumn gritted his teeth but remained silent in the end. Spring gave a nod. Torben, apologize to the person you beat up and bring this matter to an end. I'm sorry. Torben gritted out the words with difficulty as he laid on the stretcher. Since the odds were against him, he did as ordered. This was more important before he could rest and recover properly. Are you satisfied now, kid? Autumn's expression was dark. No. Dustin shook his head. There's no sincerity. I want him to kneel. Don't push your fucking luck, Autumn spat out. They'd humiliated themselves already by apologizing in public. Getting them to kneel was going too far. Kneel. Spring suddenly raised his voice. Autumn's eyes widened in shock. Spring. Someone help Torben get on his knees. Autumn gestured, wanting to get things over with quickly. Soon, a few people carried Torben off the stretcher and dropped him on the ground, getting him on his knees. It aggravated his wounds, and his face contorted in agony as he howled in pain. Autumn could only glare fiercely at Dustin, unable to utter a word even though he was enraged. Spring asked calmly, "Dustin, would that do it?" "One more thing." Dustin shook his head. "What would that be?" Spring responded. Instead of responding to him, Dustin turned to Abigail and said, "Kid, this is the guy that beat your dad up into that state. He's right in front of you now. It's time to get your revenge." Abigail was silent, but she gave Torben a death glare, her eyes burning with rage. Dustin comforted her. "Don't hold back. Take the anger you are feeling now out on him." Abigail's hand slowly formed into a fist. Traces of internal energy were welling up within her. After a while, she relaxed her fingers. "Mage, at least you know your place." Autumn smiled proudly at the sight. "Not anyone dares touch the Hill family. If you dare touch a hair on my boy," then before he finished his sentence, a clear, loud slap resonated through the room. Abigail had landed a heavy slap on Torben's face. She had put all her strength into that slap, causing Torben to lose his balance and fall headfirst to the ground. Autumn was stunned. Patrick was stunned. Mike was stunned. Nina was also stunned. Everyone at the scene was frozen to their spots, their faces etched with disbelief. Nobody expected Abigail to actually raise a hand against Torben. Not only that, she had given him a solid slap in public. That brat must not want to.